Ty's phenomenal. He's a hockey nerd. He is a hockey coach. He is a hockey student. He is a hockey educator. He loves running around and being in different parts of the world. He's really tried to help grow the game. So you've heard a lot from me and from Chris a little bit about the new ideas and how the game changed and how the teaching changed. And the hardest part about doing all that is one, accepting the change, and then two, implementing that change, because nobody wants change. Nobody wants change. So Ty was the coach-in-chief for USA Hockey in the Southeast District, like the lower half of our country, for 10 years. And he did that while USA Hockey was implementing the change. So we wanted Ty to talk a little bit about how a coaching education program works that is built into USA Hockey. And there was a full education structure within the federation, in our case, the association. But I also asked Ty to say, how did you get your membership to buy in and accept where this was going? And he and so many other people, Kevin McLaughlin, Mark Tabor, Kenny Martell, who was kind of the brain behind all this, they just did an unbelievable job of selling the masses some things that were difficult. Ty, welcome. We thank you for being here. Ty currently is involved, again, trying to grow the game. He's the head coach and director of the Israeli national program. And he's also the executive director of Fort DuPont Rink in Washington, D.C. It's an inner city, publicly run building. And they have a program called Kids on Ice that deals with underprivileged and minority populations. I can't even tell you the amount of kids, I think 3,000-4,000 a year that they put on the ice for no cost. I think he does a great job. He's a great friend, and we're happy to have him. Thanks for being here, Ty.
Toby, thank you for having me. I appreciate everybody's time. Lob the end to everybody, and to Petrus over there in Kaunas, who made it on the call. Laba Diana to you. So thank you for having me. And as Toby mentioned, my real bio is this. I have done nothing more than screw up hockey players for over 30 years. And I've managed to do it at every level and pretty much across a lot of parts of the world. So if you screw up enough, you're supposed to learn. And if you learn enough, you get put in front of the room to talk to everybody about what you did. So my specialty in what I did, as Toby mentioned, I did a lot with the coaching education program as we implemented this American development model. We have the coaches are the most important part of any organization. If you want to include kids, you want to retain kids, as Toby mentioned, you want to develop kids. The coaching and the environment that the coach gives is what is going to provide all those opportunities for kids and those organizations to not only prove and get better. So here in the United States, we have a coaching education program. The coaching education program is a little different than a lot of places I've been around the world, where it is the national governing body who is putting together the coaching education and the requirements. It is not the sports ministries that a lot of countries, and I believe you have there, where you are taking classes in other sports, but it really isn't hockey specific. So we as a national governing body started with the coaching education program. There's three levels to it. The first one is up and before we had this COVID world, is we had in-person clinics. And we had 5 different levels, and I'll briefly explain them, but you can find them all on their line there. So in your first year of coaching, you had to show up to a coaching clinic in person. And at the level 1 coaching, it was a lot of coaching 101. It's how to connect with kids, how to communicate with kids, how to put them out on the ice safely, how to build trust. And we focused a lot on skill and skill development. So you did that for your first year, you went out, you coached, and then the very next year, you have to come back and take your level 2. And in level 2, we start talking a little bit more. We still work on our skills, but we slowly move into individual concepts. But we're still now talking about designing practices and maximizing activity, or actually maximizing achievement over activity. and giving coaches, again, more tools and resources to be successful. We have a saying here in the United States that if the only tool in your tool bag is a hammer, then every problem you see is a nail. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give a lot of coaches a lot of different views, concepts, ideas that they can then flush out and make their own. So they come back now, they coach for their second season. After their second season, they're going to come for the third coaching clinic here for us. Now they have 2 years of experience on the bench, dealing with parents, dealing with organizations, working with kids. And again, we provide, now we go from individual concepts. Now we're starting to talk about tactics and maybe some team tactics, such as providing support, angling and things of that nature. And then finally, their fourth year, they have to come back and take a level 4. Now this rule's changed a little bit, but as of this year, year 4, you have to come back and get your level 4. So for 4 straight years, we have the opportunity to connect in person and be able to provide tools and resources and discussion and slides and give them printed material, and really try to provide a platform for them to be successful. And this has helped. This has helped tremendously. We have found that in a lot of sports, retention of coaches, and most of our coaches here in the United States, I would say 80% or more of our coaches here in the United States are volunteers. They are not paid professional coaches. So because we have so many people in our organization, we rely on a lot of people who haven't grown up in hockey, haven't grown up playing. They may have played soccer or baseball, but they're the only sucker in the group that will say, yes, I'll give up every weekend of my life to be able to sit and babysit everybody else's kids. So we have to rely on them. So our resources has helped in retaining coaches because we're providing them a platform to be successful. And then once you get your level 4, now you have 3 years, you got to kind of get continuing education courses and things like that to kind of stay current. But we also have a level 5. This is more for our professional coaches. This is a 4-day event. It's only offered once every 2 years. A lot of NHL speakers, a lot of international speakers. And now we're finally into the systematic approach to the game and seeing what kind of is the cutting edge for the upper tier of our hockey. So step 1 is you have to attend a clinic in person. A second step, we also started a goalie track about 3 years ago. So we have found that the only thing we did with our goaltenders is we used them as targets. They got out on the ice and we shot pucks at them, and we just looked at our goaltender and said, hey, I don't care how you stop the puck, Junior, just stop it, right? So we want to improve our goaltending. We started a goaltending track. We didn't do the levels. We wanted to keep the coaching clinics separate, but together with the goaltending. So we just went with a bronze, a silver, and a gold level. A bronze is a 1-day course. Then you can go to a 2-day silver, and then the gold is only offered every other year. It's in conjunction with our National Coaching Symposium, where there is a level 5. So in the past 2 years, we have put out a ton of information to improve goaltenders. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but there are specific coaching clinics for goaltenders. And then finally, another piece of the puzzle came about 8 to 9 years ago, and that is a hockey director position. So we have 2 types of hockey directors. We have hockey directors who run the club or the association or the school. And then there's hockey directors who kind of oversee everything from the ice rink level. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to provide and get to our hockey directors because they are the ones who oversee our learn to play hockey. They are the ones that see kids first. They come into this program first before they join a club. So we want to make sure those hockey directors are trained and educated on how to make this a great experience for those kids so that they can graduate. We also give them information and talks on membership, recruitment, adult hockey. So it's just not coaching a hockey team, it's the business of being a hockey director and running a club. So we want to give them a lot of resources to be to connect the dots between basically a kid coming in at 4 years old and how we get that kid into our program, get them happy so that when they're 6, they're happy, they're 8, they're happy, they're 10, they're happy, they're 12, they're happy. And hopefully when they're 70, 80, 90 years old, they're still coming back in the rink, playing in the adult leagues, in the Jerry Hatricks League or the Cardiac League or whatever it may be. But we want this cradle to grave type philosophy and approach to recruitment and retention. So those were the classes. That's step one. You have to do a class in person. The second thing we instituted when we talked a lot about this American development model is age-specific courses. All right. We forget a 9-year-old child is not half of an 18-year-old. All right. Kids are kids. We need to allow them to be kids and develop as kids. The biggest thing with age-specific training is we do the right thing at the right time and don't be in a hurry. It is our patience which is the greatest flaw in the development of players. It is our patience as coaches or parents who are trying to push kids to develop quickly. All right. Now, you can't see me full screen, but if you saw me full screen, you would say that's a guy who likes cookies. All right. And if you've ever baked cookies, you would make the mix. You would set your oven at 190 degrees Celsius. I'm guessing where you're at. We use Fahrenheit here, but I'm guessing you put the oven at 190 degrees Celsius, and you put those the mix in, the cookie dough in, and you bake it for about 8 to 10 minutes. What you can't do is you can't say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to dial up that temperature to 250 degrees and maybe I can bake them in 6. Because ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to end up burning those cookies. And that's the exact thing we do with children by trying to rush their development, is we are burning them out of our game. So here's a little video. So when you coach, if you are coaching 8-year-olds, you have to take a 6-hour online course that is designed just to teach an 8-year-old child and an 8 and under children only. So we, at that age, obviously we talk about play to learn and get them active, and there's very little work to rest ratio. But remember here, the 18-year-old you have today is the 8-year-old you have today is the 18-year-old you have tomorrow. Every shortcut, every opportunity that you had to provide a resource for them to be successful and you didn't, they will never get that chance back. So Toby talked about how we sell things, how we package things. It's never easy. Change is always difficult. But for here, we're going to use a little example of putting adults in the skates of an 8-year-old kid. So we went out on our pond hockey tournament and we took the ice and we adjusted the ice size the same that it would be for an 8-year-old kid playing on a full-size ice. We won't watch all of it here.
So much room on the ice that you end up a lot of time in open space and you're not touching the puck. And we realized how bunched up we were, spread out and use the ice, but then you weren't far so far out of it.
No audio, Ty.
Not much contact. If you're out there once, you're not going to get back any rest of the play. So yeah, it's very unforgiving.
So basically, this is very similar to bandy, essentially, right? You make a play, you make your pass, and then you got to wait 3 or 4 minutes before the puck comes back your way. So this is what happens when we put kids in an adult environment, and we need to step back and let kids be kids. You only got one chance at childhood. Do not deny that kid that opportunity to be a child at that age on that ice. So you have your coaching in-person clinic, you have your online module, and then we have some administrative stuff. And this changes a little bit here and there. One thing that is absolute is what we call safe sport training. This is put on by the U.S. Olympic Committee, and it's to deal with psychological, emotional, and sexual abuse of players, how to recognize the signs, how not to put yourself in the situations, how you may be doing things you're not even aware of that you need to stop doing. So that's put onto the USOC. It's required for every coach, in addition to the coaching clinics and the online modules. Some states require a concussion training. We do background checks to check on people. So there's administrative pieces. So in a nutshell, that is what the national governing body provides. Now, as we move forward, we are now using certain areas of emphasis to lead us into different directions here. So new ideas and how we create buy-in with it. One of our early ones here, well, first of all, we had to step back as an organization. One of the most dangerous phrases in any organization, whether it's sports, school, business, life, whatever it is, the most dangerous words for any organization is, it has always been done that way. Okay? We got to get away from that. All right, we have to be on the edge. You have to be a leader. You can't look at what we've always done, because we got to be moving the bus forward. We got to be bringing people up. We don't want to be stagnant. So Chris mentioned this quite a bit. I'm not going to beat the dead horse here, but we got to stop developing hockey players. And as coaches, we got to start looking at developing athletes. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to play a video because, again, this is part of the sales job that we had to tell people. We had to tell people, hey, that's too much hockey. All right. So here's a video, hopefully help drive this point a little bit for you.
Ty.
Yeah.
Ty, no audio.
Okay, there's just music playing in the background, just a little bit. It's a short video here, but this is the point we're just trying to make here, is that there are things that your kids can be doing every day other than putting them out on the ice. All right, if you want to get a kid who's good at stick handling, the best thing you can do, I don't know how much you have it out there, but we have an activity here we call fly fishing, or paddleball, or ping pong, or darts at a pub. You know, take the 10-year-old kid down to a pub and let him throw some darts at the wall. So there are other activities we can do that all come back to making good hockey players other than solely being on the ice. Cross-ice hockey, Toby mentioned this here, the video that you saw, small area games. One of the things that's overlooked, and I think Chris mentioned it a little bit too, is unstructured learning. If I could go back 30 years to a young coach of myself, I would sit down and talk to myself about front loading and back loading drills and the importance of unstructured play. All right. We think kids are screwing around. We think they're being goofy. Let them do it. Give them time to simply work on things that they want to work on without instruction, without an audience, and without being told no. The biggest challenge we have, and this is an area why we have focused hard in coaching education and small area games, is we want kids to be creative and think. We found here in the United States, if you would have looked at practices 10 years ago, you would have seen every single drill the coach told you where you started on the ice and where you ended and what you did every step between that start and that end. So our kids became very robotic. And not only were they robotic, 3/4 of them were standing in line. So if there was ever an Olympic event for standing in line, or skating around a pylon or a cone, we would have taken gold medals in that because our kids weren't actively participating in the practices. So if you have drills that have a start point, an end point, and everything in between, you got to change the drill to take at least one of those three things out for it to be an effective drill. I think I read recently here, you all moved your age of checking up also. We did the same thing. We did this about 7-8 years ago. Oh my goodness. Was it a lot of fun with adults and parents? All right. But we've seen the retention. We've seen the skill development. We've moved the body contact, the checking, the full body check up, and it has been nothing but successful for us. And this was one of the posters we used again as an example of things to try to deliver different messages through different ways to our parents, our clubs, our presidents, our coaches, and everybody like that. So goaltending, we also realized it took us a long time, but we realized we weren't doing anything with our goaltenders. This is how we treated our goaltenders right here. Watch this. Our goaltenders would get out on the ice. And that's what we did for the next 50 minutes or an hour. We just threw pucks at them and we thought they were getting better. Well, we've put together the coaching education program. We've put together a tracking system. We've put goalie coach in chief, so to speak, goalie development coordinators in all states. There's one in each state, all 50 of our states. And their job is to educate coaches and educate goaltenders on how to be better. And not only are we trying that, but we set out, this was about 3 years ago, we have a slogan when it comes to goaltending, 51 and 30. We are expecting to have 51% of all NHL minutes be played by a US goalie in the NHL by 2030. Now that's a lofty goal. That gave us 12 years-ish to get there, but we feel we are on a good track that now all of a sudden the goaltending piece, which has always been kind of lagging in the United States, now is brought to the forefront, and we are pushing that and pushing that hard, and we're going to see a lot of success here very, very soon, and we're already seeing in some areas. So the last thing that we really focused on was looking at our practices. In the United States here, people thought practices was the time my child was on the ice to the time my child was off the ice. All right. So here in the United States, coaches said my practice is from 6 to 6:50 on Tuesday night. But the reality is that's your on ice portion. That's only one part of practices. So we needed to get away from, as I mentioned, the flow drills, the standing in line. We focused on small area games. We focused on station-based practices. As Toby showed you in that video, we want kids, because they have so little time in the game touching the puck, as you saw with Cami Granado and Joe Sakic, you know, a minute, just about a minute. When they get the puck, they got to be good with it. And not only do they got to be good with it, they got to be confident with it. And I say all the time, there are three types of people in youth hockey, three puck handlers in youth hockey. There's the kid who gets the puck on his stick and he's faster than everybody, so he just skates away from everybody. Then there's the kid who's scared, right? The puck gets on their stick, they tense up, they look around, and they throw it away as quickly as they can, as far away from as possible, so they don't get any blame for it. And then the third kid is always surprised, right? The puck ends up on their stick. Hey, I got the puck for the first time this game. Mom, Dad, pitcher, right? And ends up costing you the puck anyways. So we got to get players, all our players, to be great with the puck and the puck on their games. We did a lot of things here. I'm going to exit this screen real quickly. So we have all this information, and one of the challenges we had in the coaching education program is putting it in a useful environment and something that we will make sure that coaches see and use. And that's the part when we struggled. We gave them materials when they showed up, at the coaching seminar, but after that, they threw them on a shelf, right? They never used them. So what we did was, hopefully my app will pull up here, is we created a coaching app. And this has been a huge, huge success for us to get information to our coaches. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but here's our coaching tools as we look. We have drills, we have videos, because again, we rely on a lot of soccer coaches or football coaches or baseball coaches. They don't know what things are supposed to look like. So as you're a coach and you're working on skating skills, you can pull up a video, and if you can't teach it, oh, the video is not going to play on here, sorry. You can show the kid what you want it to look like. So we have videos, we have dry land videos, we have videos for goaltending, we have tips, we have down here drills, practice plans. So we took and said, if you've never coached an 8-year-old kid in your entire life, and you never coached hockey and you went out, we've provided you with 30 practice plans that you can use on the ice. And again, we're using station-based. So over here to the left, we have, it written out what the station is, but we've also found that a lot of hockey players aren't very good at reading, so we had to draw colorful pictures. And so now as a coach, we can take this practice plan here, and I can email it or text it and email it to whomever I want. And I can say, Petrus, you have station 1, you be ready to run that Tuesday. Toby, you have station 2, you be ready. Sergey, you got station 3. And now my coaches, before they get to the rink, they know the station they're supposed to run. They know the supplies that they need, and we can get out on the ice and be successful. And we got that for all age groups, including goaltenders. Manuals, here's all our manuals, all this information we used to print and put out. The best one we have in here is the skills progression manual, but we've even broken things down for age specific stuff. And then on top of that, you can build your own practice plan. There's a whiteboard, you can draw plays, but not only can you draw plays, it can also be used like a teleprompter where you can shoot a video or take a picture of a kid and you can draw the arrows on the knees and the back and whatever you want to correct. And then the last thing we have here is an activity tracker. This one here was one that was a little concerning to coaches, but you know what? It forced our coaches to get better. So you can sign on. We're going to start a new day today. Oh, sorry, not a new player. Skater for practice and go. And now as a parent or a coach, I can sit in the stands and I can watch my kid. And I can say, my kid's on the ice. Oh, wait. The coach is talking to him. How much time is the coach going to waste talking in front of the dry erase board? How much time is my kid on the ice and actually skating? How often do they touch the puck? How many passes do they make? So now they can take this information and create a chart that shows them from practice to practice where their children are and if their kids are participating and doing well in that department. So the last thing I want to do here is just mention this if I can. This is one of the things that we're really working with our coaches. It's a Japanese approach, and a lot of business people have talked about it. It's called Kaizen. It's continuous improvement. And we expect our players to eat healthy, sleep right, hit the weight room. We expect them to go to summer camps or maybe some skills lessons. We expect our players to get better when they are not with us every day. My question to you all is, what are you doing as a coach every single day to get better for your players? So with that, I thank you all. Paul Dinas, I hopefully said that. Paul Dinas, thank you very much. Best of luck. And Toby, I will turn it over to you.
Hi, thank you so much. You were fantastic there. And I got a few things I want to kind of show you guys. One is Ty's book here. Ty authored his first book this past fall. It went out. I was one of the people that were lucky to be on there. There are NHL coaches, there are international coaches. It's about coaching situational hockey. All the situations that we have been in, he tried to create questions for. And by doing that, I had been through that 100 times. Another coach had been through that 100 times. Really great idea. And yes, I will plug it a little bit.
Thank you.
Him on tnttalks.com, tnttalks.com. Fantastic book. Like I say, NHL coaches, international coaches, youth hockey coaches. Some of the other things I'll put up, manuals on small games, dryland training cards that are available that everyone can have. And I think on the back of them, it says a great deal. It says, let them play, let them have fun, let them fail, let them learn, let them succeed, equals let them be kids. Let them be kids. We need to figure those things out. Some other things that we use here, showing 6 station practices. So you get a lot of kids doing a lot of different things. We put it on a tag that you can kind of take with you and use wherever you are. But the only thing that limits us is our imagination. 2 things as we're coming in to a break here. Thank you so much. One of the big things that I've always thought about, and we did as children, we played tons of street hockey. We played tons of pond hockey. And in Europe, floorball, street hockey, what I would call it, but it's been taken to an exact science over in Europe. But floorball, it's less expensive. It can be played outdoors. It can be played in gyms. It gives all the kids something that we got naturally. Is there a way to connect those things? I sure think there are, right? Can we do things with skills? I see it more and more happening. Some of the NHL teams have floorball tournaments in training camp. Some kids play with their sticks and do things like that. So how can we think outside the box and merge things towards a common goal? Ty, again, unbelievable.